The fairy tale, The Little Bridge of Silence. Mouse Miko had just moved into a new home under a tree. Everything felt unfamiliar. The leaves, the smells, even the wind. He really wanted to find a friend but didn't know where to start. Every morning, he would step onto the path and pretend to look for acorns. But really, he was glancing at the neighbors, hoping someone might come over. One day, a turtle named Tilda walked by. She didn't say anything, just stood beside him and started looking for acorns too. "Are you new here too?" Miko whispered. "No," Tilda said. "I just remember what it's like to be alone." They walked side by side in silence, looking up at the sky, sometimes smiling, sometimes just breathing. The next day, Tilda came again, and again, no words. Soon they had a little ritual, morning walks without talking, and evening tea with mint leaves. And Miko realized sometimes friendship doesn't start with hello, but with silence, the kind where you feel understood. The fairy tale, The Letter in the Pocket. Little Bear Finn had a secret. He missed his friend who had moved to another forest. They no longer built block towers, made up silly jokes, or built branch forts together. Finn often sat on a tree stump and stayed quiet. "Are you okay?" his mom would ask. Finn nodded, but his eyes looked sad. One day, he put on an old sweater, and in its pocket he found a small folded piece of paper. It was a letter from his friend. "If you ever feel lonely, remember how we built that tower and laughed. I'm with you, even if I'm far away." Finn smiled. He held the letter close to his chest, then gently put it back to carry with him. The next day, he saw a little rabbit sitting alone under a tree. Finn sat beside him and quietly asked, "Want me to show you the place where the echo hides?" That's how a new friendship began, first with silence, then with laughter. And the letter from his pocket, Finn passed it on, because he knew sometimes a small "I'm here" can be the beginning of something big. The fairy tale, The Desk for Two. When Owlet Ori came to school, all the seats were already taken. At every desk, someone was laughing with a friend, whispering secrets, spilling ink, or sharing cookies. "You can sit here," the teacher said, pointing to the last desk by the window. There sat Remy the young badger. He was big, quiet, and always drawing something in his notebook. Ori sat down beside him, trying not to get in the way. For the first few days they hardly spoke. Ori thought Remy didn't want to be friends. But then he noticed that in Remy's drawings there was now an owlet, one that looked a lot like him, first sitting on a branch, then on a rainbow, and then riding on a badger's back as if they were flying together. "Did you draw me?" Ori asked quietly. Remy nodded and handed him another sheet of paper. On it was written, "I'm just not good at talking right away, but I'm glad you're here." From then on, they shared the desk, the drawings, the pie, and every recess. Because sometimes friendship doesn't begin with words, but with simply sitting beside someone and knowing they see you. The fairy tale, The Chick Who Feared the Wind. High up in a tree, in a cozy nest, lived a little chick named Flick. He could already do so much, spread his wings, flap them, even hop along the branch, but flying, he didn't dare. "What if the wind carries me away?" he whispered to his mom. "Or I fall, or I mix up the sky and the ground." Mom smiled and never rushed him. "Everyone has their own time to take off," she said. Every day, Flick watched the other chicks rise into the sky, play in the clouds, and he dreamed of trying it just once, but the fear was stronger. One night he had a dream. In it, Flick wasn't afraid. He was flying, free, high, as if his wings knew the way on their own. He woke up with trembling feathers and a quiet thought. What if I really can? In the morning, he stepped to the edge of the branch. The wind blew. Flick closed his eyes, remembered the dream, and stepped off. At first he was falling, but then he caught the air and he flew. He shouted from joy, not from fear, because he understood. Being brave doesn't mean not being afraid. It means taking the step even when you are. The fairy tale, The Shadows Under the Bed. Every evening when the room grew dark, little mouse Toby climbed into bed and pulled the blanket up to his nose. He wasn't afraid of the dark itself, he was afraid of what might be in the dark, especially under the bed. Down there, it seemed, lived rustles, sighs, and something that definitely had whiskers. What if it comes out, Toby thought, and notices I'm breathing? Mom brought a nightlight, Dad checked under the bed. Even a lamp with a friendly face stood beside him, but Toby still froze before sleep. One evening, a cat named Musia came to visit. She loved sleeping under the bed. "It's so cozy down there," she purred. "I even found an old slipper and a tiny pillow." "There's no one there?" Toby asked. "Only me. But if you want, we can swap. You sleep under the bed, and I'll take the top." Toby stared down for a long moment. His heart was pounding, but he suddenly wanted to try. He crawled under the bed. The lamp shone from above. It was cool, soft, and quiet. "That's it," Toby whispered. Musia nodded and yawned. "Fear isn't a monster, it's just a thought, and thoughts can be moved around." From that night on, Toby wasn't afraid anymore. He knew if you peek under fear's tail, it turns out to be just an ordinary shadow.